Chapter 5 Arrival at Tirupati and Encounter with Tirumala Das at Kanipakam. Part 1 The Removal of the Harassment of Satan by the Mercy of Sri Pada. In my itinerary, I reached the great sacred place Tirupati. I felt some inexplicable peace of mind. I took a bath in the temple lake of Tirumala. I had darshan of Sri Venkateshwar and went into meditation in the temple premises. In meditation, I saw Sri Venkateshwara as a female. That form that appeared as Bala Tirupara Sundari changed into the form of Parameshwara within seconds. After some time, it changed to be the form of Mahavishnu. After meditation for some more time, that form appeared like a handsome 16-year-old yogi. The eyes of the child monk were full of nectar. Affectionate love of 1,000 mothers was emanating from his two eyes. In the meanwhile, a black ugly person approached the young sage and said, Lord, Sripada Srivallabha, you are the master of the universe. From today on, your devotee Shankar Bhatt will start a 7.5-year Saturn period. I will put him to all possible troubles in this world. I am awaiting the orders of the Lord. The compassionate Lord said, Sanishwara, you are the cause for destiny. You make people experience the consequences of their deeds and release them from the bonds of karma. You carry on with your duty. As I have vowed to protect Ashrita Bhaktajana, you can see in which way I will protect and release Shankar Bhatt from the troubles you inflict on him. After this conversation of Sripada and Shanishwara both disappeared. From my meditation, it became difficult to meditate upon the idol of God afterwards. I understood that difficult times were ahead and the Sripada would rescue me from troubles. I came to Tirupati from Tirumala. I was wandering in the streets of Tirupati. My mini was wearing a barber forcible stopped me and said, Are you not Subhaya, who are considered from the house 20 years ago? Your parents became worried. Your wife attained property and came of age. Therefore come home, accept her and live happily with children, the barber thundered in his demanding speech. Then I explained, Sir, I am Brahmin from Karnataka, named Shankar Bhatt. I am a traveler visiting holy place. I am a devotee of Datta. Having heard the Lord Datta incarnated as Sripada Srivallabha, I am going to Kurugada. I swear on the holy Gayatri that I am a bachelor. I am not at all the barber, Subhaya, as you think. He was not listening to me. Many people gathered there. Everyone was blaming me in a different way. They took me to the house of Subhaya. The parents of Subhaya regarded me as their own son and requested me in a number of ways. They were telling me moral principles that I should not desert them and that it is heinous crime to abandon a wife who attained maturity. One of them said Subhaya has become dirty with mustach and beard. If we shave him, the old glow will come back. They did not listen to me even though I was remonstrating. Forcibly, they shaved my head. My beard and moustache were removed. They also removed the sacred Yagnopavita from my shoulders. They summoned a sorcerer known to them to treat me. That person wore strange costumes. His dreadful looks pierced my heart and caused intense pain. They bound my hand and foot and made wounds on my scalp with a sharp knife. They applied lemon juice and other juices to those wounds. I was suffering unbearable pain. They decided that a Brahmin devil possessed Subhaya after he left home, and for that reason Subhaya wore a sacred thread and started chanting mantras. The Brahmin community in Tirupati also kept mum. They also thought that the traveler in the town was Subhaya and that a Brahmin ghost took possession of him. When I was taken to the Brahmin elders to the town, I told them that I was from Karnataka, a Samartha Brahmin belonging to the lineage of Bharadwaja. I told them that I knew Namaka Chamaka mantras and that I performed Sandhya Vandana daily. Those Brahmin elders did not believe me. They said that a Kannada Brahmin devil caught me and that with correct treatment I should be made a normal person. I fainted from the pain caused by the wounds. My lamentation became a cry in the wilderness when I came back to my senses. I saw that an ugly person with a black aura resembling me sat opposite to me. Without speaking anything, he merged into me and became one with me. It occurred to me that due to the influence of Saturn, my fate turned topsy-turvy and that a 7.5 year period would be an extraordinary difficult time for me. Only Sri Pada Sri Vallabha could save me. Even in that anguish, I was mentally chanting the name of Sri Pada Sri Vallabha. As I was chanting the name of Sri Charan, my pain was diminishing. The sorcerer sacrificed chickens and goats and was conducting strange and weird rituals. I was given a regulated diet. The sorcerer decided that vegetarian food should be served to me as a Brahmin devil possessed me. I was worried that meat also might forcibly be fed to me. But on account of the mercy of Sri Pada, I was given vegetarian food. This brought some consolation to my mind. For 3 days I underwent a hellish agony. Even in that state, I did not stop remembering the name of Sri Pada. The pain abated on the fourth day where experiments were conducted on my body. The witch doctor was also giving me whiplashes. I breathed with pain and cried, Sri Vallabha Saranu Saranu. How can hellish troubles torment devotees who serve Lord Datta with undivided devotion? In the meantime, a miracle took place. I did not feel the least of pain, even though the blows of the whip fell on my body. On the other hand, the witch doctor breathed with pain. He did not understand why he was getting the pain of the blows when he was whipping me. He was looking at me with queer looks. I noticed the divine play of Sri Pada and laughed. Even though I was eating a regulated diet, it was very delicious. I was eating meals to my heart's content. I was eating the food with the idea that it was the prasad of Sri Pada. In spite of the fact that the saucer was eating chicken and goats liked by him, it was turning into poisonous food. His health was deteriorating. He stopped harassing me and spent his time mainly with mantras and rituals. His house was burnt on the fifth day. He commenced treatment to me. Even though no fire was ignited in the sorcerer's house on that day, a fire broke out suddenly in the presence of all and the house was reduced to ashes. On the sixth day, a sorcerer came to the house of Subaya with a pale face. He said that a Brahmin ghost, who was a witch, took hold of Subaya and that the devil burned his house with witchcraft because he started treatment. Many rituals were to be conducted to win over many evil forces like Betala, and for that purpose a large amount of money was required. I knew that there was no use for the treatment and that the witch doctor was making all suggestions due to his greed of money. It came to my mind and that nothing would be more fortunate and treacherous than to accept the wife of Subaya as my own. Thus succumbing to the course of cruel fate, I could not understand why fate was playing so mercilessly with me. I felt as if my heart was cut open with a hackshaw. I told the parents of Subaya, my dear parents, don't fall into the magic trap of the sorcerer and sell away all your movable and immovable properties. I am considering you both as my mother and father. With that, I was freed from the sorcerer. The parents of Subaya were happy. My eyes also become wet on seeing the happiness shining in their eyes. I prayed mentally to Sri Pada humbly to save me from a moral downfall since the wife of another man is to be considered as a mother. So I prayed to Shripada to save me from the impending danger. On the seventh day, since my medical treatment commenced, I said to the wife of Subaya, who was attending upon me, "What are you thinking about me? Are you believing that I am a Subaya really?" For that, she said, the marriage took place when I was 2 years old. Now I am 22 years old. No one except God knows whether you are my husband or not. Any male who enters fresh youth cannot remain steady when he sees his wife. Though you are undergoing all these troubles, you did not regard me as your wife. You did not even touch me. This is possible only for those who have very good culture. I do not have any opinion about you. I want to lead a virtuous life according to the traditions of the family. If you are my husband, do not leave this humble servant of yours. On the other hand, as my husband fled from the house 20 years back and as my marriage took place when I was quite ignorant, you can accept me as your wife. I will walk in your footsteps. Who is Shripada Shivallabha, about whom you always think? If he is a Sadguru, I will also pray to him to show an ethical solution to this naughty problem. Her argument appeared proper to me also. Then I said, Shripada Shivallabha is Lord Dattatreya. He incarnated in this Kali Yuga. Now he is Kuruvapuram. He behaves according to our conceptions about him. If we consider him as Sadguru, he grants us experience as a Sadguru. If we consider him as a Paramatma, he will prove himself as Paramatma. You can also chant the name of Shripada Shivallabha. Your duty surely will be known to you. A solution acceptable to all will become available. On that day, Amala Jangam came there. There were many books of palm leaves with him. He became a venerable person to all the residents of that locality within a short time. He was telling past, present, and future events to all those who met him. He was telling that all those palm leaf books were Nadi Grunts and it was called Science of Ramala, and all the prediction from those books would take place exactly as foretold. He came to the house of Subaya's parents on their request. He gave some seashells to me and asked me to cast the shells on the ground. He made some calculations and took a leaf from the palm leaf book and read out us. The questioner is a Kannada Brahmin by name Shankar Bhatt. He will write the life history of Shripada Shivallabha. In his previous birth, he and another person were born in Moglichala village situated near Kandukuru town. Both of them became very much interested in gambling. There is a famous self-manifested Datta temple in that village. He was born as a brother of that temple priest. In the absence of his brother, he was conducting temple worship and other rituals. He was indulging in gambling with his friend in the temple premises. That is a highly objectionable matter. One day he played the gambling game with his friend under peculiar stipulations. If his friend were to win, this man had to give him the amount of money stipulated. If this person were to win, the friend had to hand over his wife to this gentleman. Lord Datta was a witness to this deal. They solemnly swore to that effect and gambled. Lord Datta was observing that this highly reprehensible act was taking place in his very presence. Shankar Bhatt won in the gamble. The friend refused to hand over his wives to Shankar Bhatt. The dispute was referred to the elders. The elders of the caste assembled. They resolved that it was an unpardonable offense that such a misdeed took place in the very sacred presence of Lord Datta. They also resolved that hot boiled oil should be poured on the head of Shankar Bhatt, who was enamored with the wife of another person and who wanted to enjoy her in a crooked way. They further resolved that the genitals of the friend who staked his wife should be slashed to render him impotent, and that both of them should be expelled from the village after execution of the decree. The resolution was duly executed. A Shankar Bhatt performed service to Datta for a short while. He was born in this birth as a person with some devotion to God. His friend took birth in a barber's house in the holy town of Tirupati with the name of Subaya, with mental instability. He became mad and ran away after the marriage. The wife of Subaya is innocent, as no offense was committed by her. The lunacy of Subaya decreases on account of the efficacy of her matrimonial fidelity, and Subaya returns to this place on the next day. After the signs of Ramala is heard, Shankara would get released on that day. On account of the grace of Sripada Sri Vallabha, the 7.5 year duration of harassment to Shankar Bhatt due to Saturn would elapse in 7.5 days by making him suffer such above mentioned troubles. Those who swear in the name of God and make false and unrighteous declaration are severely punished by Lord Datta. For the cure of the mental instability of Subaya, some portion of the merit of Shankar Bhatt was transformed to the credit of Subaya by Chitragupta. People should understand the fact that the influence of karma works in the most subtle way. Therefore, they should perform good deeds and refrain from doing bad deeds. The horoscope of Sripada Sri Vallabha will come to Pitikapuram through Akshay Kumar, a follower of the Jain religion residing in the Tirupura province a few centuries after his incarnation ends. Before that, a book with the title of Sripada Sri Vallabha Charitramatam describing the divine sportive place of Sripada will come to light. How can I describe the mercy of Sri Vallabha? The next day, Subaya came to his house. His lunacy was completely cured. I treated Subaya's wife as my sister. I took leave from the parents of Subaya and reached Kanipakkam village in the Chittor region. The village Kanipakkam was at a short distance from Chittor. The temples of Sri Varadaraja Swami, Sri Manikanteshwar Swami and Sri Varasiddhi Vinayaka are in that village. I had darshan of Varasiddhi Vinayaka and came out of the temple. There was a tall dog standing there. I was afraid and went back into the temple of Varasiddhi Vinayaka. I meditated on God for some time and came out. There was one more dog at the same size along with that first dog. I feared that I would surely be bitten by those dogs. I again entered the temple of Varasiddhi Vinayaka. The temple priest found my behavior queer and asked me, "Sir, you are repeatedly going out and coming into the temple. What is the reason?" I told him about my fear. Then the priest said they wouldn't harm anyone unnecessarily. Those dogs belong to a washerman. This washerman is a devotee of Datta. The washerman declares that Sri Datta has incarnated with the name of Sri Pada Sri Vallabha. Even though there is no restriction for the entry of the washerman into the temple, he does not step into the temple. He sends his dogs. I packed Swami's prasad into a bundle and hand it over to the dogs. They carry the bundle and go over to their master. You said you saw 2 dogs. I will give the prasadam only when all the 4 dogs come together. Let us see whether the other 2 dogs arrived. When we came out, there were 4 dogs. The 4 dogs surrounded me from all the 4 directions. The priest said, "You go to that washerman as per the wish of those dogs. It augurs well for you." I realized that the events in my life were taking place according to the direction of Sri Vallabha. I felt that from the incidents at the house of Subaya, one should not mind too much for the distinctions of caste and religion. A pariah may be born as a Brahmin in the next birth, and a Brahmin may take birth as a pariah in his next birth. I learned that a living being amasses the virtues and sins earned by him, and with that bundle load he wades through the stream of fate through successive births. Part 2. The discussion between Shankar Bhatt and Tirumala Das. As told by the priest, I went to the place where that washerman lived. The washerman was 70 years old. He came out of his hut and seated me with cordiality on a cot. Much of my pride due to my birth as a Brahmin was already destroyed. Whosoever they may be, all devotees of Sripada appeared as my close kith and kin. The washerman called Tirumala Das gave me the prasad of Sri Vara Siddhi Vinayaka temple. I accepted it as a prasad of Sripada Shri Vallabha.